All right, everybody, NBA Finals got very interesting last night with the Raptors blowout win in the Bay Area. Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, is there, and he's here to break it down with us here. So, Kurt, 2-1 Raptors, but they win convincingly last night. Is this a case that the Raptors, people undervaluing the Raptors, or were the Warriors, just too much stacked up against them with the injuries last night?
Well, I do think people are undervaluing the Raptors. I think that the people don't realize how good this team has really been all season, and how well Kawhi Leonard has kind of in the playoffs. People have realized he's been playing at this elite level, but I think people slept on how good Kyle Lowry was and how far Pascal Siakam had come and stuff. I think for a lot of people, they didn't realize how good this team was. And that said, yeah, that's not the Warriors. That is a very depleted Warriors team without Kevin Durant, without Klay Thompson. They still put up points. I mean, they put up 109. Their offensive rating wasn't bad. Obviously, Steph Curry had the monster night. But without those guys, particularly without Thompson, they really missed him on the defensive end. They just couldn't get stops. They're playing their best when Thompson's on Kawhi Leonard, which allows Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala to be in more help situations and make smart plays, and they just did not have that last night. They just could not get stops at all. And credit the Raptors for knocking down the shots when they've got them. But I think Game 4 will feel a little bit different.
A lot of talk about Iguodala earlier in the week. He hit the shot. There's a lot of people asking is he a Hall of Famer. You got Draymond Green, who a lot of people put in that boat. You got Curry, Iguodala, Draymond Green. Cousins did not play very well, but I'm sure he'll be in that conversation at some point. Did you expect the Warriors, even without Durant and Klay, to be able to defend their home court last night?
Actually, I didn't. I thought the game would be closer than it was, but the matchups become much harder for them when those guys are out. I mean, in the half court, that is a very good Raptors half court defense. They close out, they're long, they're athletic, and Kevin Durant's the guy that blows all that up for every team. Any team that tries to defend them just really struggles. That doesn't work. With him out, it becomes much harder in the half court. And then defensively, like I said, the matchups, they really need Klay Thompson, who's like, the two-way player thing. If you're going to use that analogy, he's got to be. I mean, Kawhi's probably the best in the league, so second or third if you're counting guys who are just powerful on the defensive end as well. He is so important to them, and you could see how much they missed him last night.
Kurt Helin, NBC Sports, joining us here on the Sports Batch. We're up to it's 2-1 tomorrow night. We'll have the game on 97.3 ESPN. Raptors hitting shots. Danny Green, a big, huge game for him last night. Van Vliet had some big shots. If they keep hitting shots like this and you get that Kyle Lowry, are we going to be talking about the Raptors as your NBA champions if they don't get Klay at least and Durant back?
They will have Klay for Game 4. I've talked to sources, and they've pretty much made that clear today, that even after the game, they kind of hinted that he could have played, but they realized this was going to be a long series, and you know how hamstrings are, how easy it is to re-aggravate them. They're thinking if they'd rather not have him out there for 3 and have him for 4, 5, 6, maybe 7. They realize what this is like. But yes, this is a very confident Raptors team right now. They believe not only are they in the driver's seat, they genuinely believe they should win this thing because they've still got 2 games at home of the 4. They're in a good spot, and they know it. And this is a very good team. So I wouldn't be shocked if that happens, but I do genuinely believe that they're just not quite there against a full-strength Warriors team. But they need Kevin Durant back, not just, by the way, because Kevin Durant can score, but if Kevin Durant's out there, guys like Jonas Jerebko aren't. And I'm going to let you know a big basketball insider secret. That's a huge upgrade.
Absolutely. Let's kind of project out a little bit here. What if the Warriors didn't win this series? What does that say about the trio of Klay, Curry, and Green? Does that change any perception of them at all?
I don't think so. I think that, look, any team that wins a championship in any sport, frankly, I mean, we could talk about this with the Rams and Todd Gurley and whatever, or even take the dominant teams like Jordan's Bulls or something. You still have to catch some breaks to win a title. You still have to be healthy. You still have to have some things go your way, and they're not going their way this year. But I don't think it changes the fact that they still will have won 3 titles in 5 years. They're going to be still a dominant. They're going to be seen as the dominant team of this era. It's just, they couldn't win them all. There was too much to overcome this year. So I don't think it changes their legacy too much. I'm curious what it would do for Durant this summer. Would Durant then go, you know what, no, I'm coming back on a one-year deal or a 1+1 type of thing? Or would he still want to leave? It's so hard to predict his mentality, but there's a sense that if they lost, he'd almost consider coming back to get one more.
And then obviously you got the Kawhi on the other side. I mean, I find it interesting. Like, if he were to win, does he say mission accomplished, I'm out of here? Or does winning suffice to say, I love it here, I'm going to stay because we won?
Yeah, I could ask the chair in my hotel room and probably get as good an answer as we get out of Kawhi on these things. He's so hard to read. I will say that the buzz kind of around the league right now is that he's leaning towards a short-term deal, maybe one or 2 years in Toronto, because he realized, they've treated him well. Obviously, I mean they gave him the time and the space to get what he wanted to be in terms of health, and he really enjoys the way the city has responded to him. He said the word fun during an interview, that he was having fun during the interviews after Game 2, which, how often do you hear that from him? He was saying how much fun this was. So there's a sense that he might sign. Ultimately, he wants to be back in Southern California, but that this has worked out, and maybe he stays for a year or two. I'm not sure that the outcome of this series necessarily dictates that, because the Warriors probably aren't the same next year. And he knows that, look, this Toronto team, win, lose, or draw, whatever, well, we're supposed to not draw, win or lose, they are contenders again next year. They are in the mix in this thing.
Do you believe that we will see Durant in this series?
Yes, and very possibly in Game 4. After Game 3, that was about the most, or I should say before Game 3, that was the most optimistic we've heard Steve Kerr. I don't quite know if it's going to be 4 or 5, but I'll say that there is a genuine sense of, maybe not desperation, but all right, we got to get serious about this. We got to put it all in now. These Raptors are too good. We can't just. This isn't Portland. We can't just coast past these guys. We got to go all in. You will definitely see Clay, and I would not be surprised at all. He's working out Thursday afternoon. There will certainly be a game time decision, but I would not be surprised at all if you see Kevin Durant in Game 4, because they know that look. It's not technically a must-win, but if they get down 3-1 in this series, they're in a lot of trouble, because that is a good Raptors team.
Been a lot of fun. The series is interesting. 2-1. We'll have it Friday night right here on 97.3 ESPN. Kurt Helin, Pro Basketball Talk, NBC Sports Radio, and, of course, right here on the Boardwalk Honda Hotline. All right, Kurt, appreciate it, pal.
I'll talk to you soon, Mike. Take care.
All right, that's Kurt Helin here on the Sports Batch talking a little NBA with us.